Welcome to Why We're Fans. I'm Duran, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Gennaro.
In all of our episodes, we cover the past, present, and the future of all your favorite NFL football teams.
We love hearing your stories, talking the NFL draft, and reminiscing about the good old days.
If you like the same, be sure to subscribe to this channel and like this episode. And leave a comment below if you want to answer any of our questions.
Follow us on Twitter to stay up to date on our latest interviews. And like we always say, win or lose, we're all fans. Enjoy this episode.
Welcome back to another episode of Why We're Fans. I'm your host, Gennaro, and joining me always is my co-host, Duran. Duran, how you doing on this Friday, baby?
I'm doing good. We are knocking out some NFC East teams, and I'm loving it. We just did the Eagles. Now we're knocking out some Giants, and, we got some rivalry going.
Yeah, we got to look for a football team representative. I was going to say Redskins. I almost slipped on that one, but yeah, good thing I didn't.
It'll be next.
All right. You sipping on anything in particular over there?
I am. I got double IPA. Can you see it?
Yeah, I see it. There you go.
Double IPA from L Works here in Santa Rosa. Got to stick with my double IPA. Something new.
In lieu of the Valentine's Day around the corner, I got Love Kurtz, an IPA out here from Cooperage in Santa Rosa out here. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get this party started, huh?
Crack it.
But all right, our man over here has been patiently waiting. We love to have him. So, all right, his name is Mike Trainor. He's the host of the Giants Brawl podcast. You can see it in his background right there. They are a part of the Brawl Network. Mike, how you doing tonight, man?
Man, I'm doing good, man. I'm representing Stella right now, fellas.
There you go.
I work for Budweiser, so I have to keep it real. All these craft beers, they're trying to get a little of our sales here, man. I dig it though, man. I feel the craft beers every once in a while.
There you go.
We always dig into it. I got a quick question for Mike. The Giants are one of the teams that, beat Brady twice in the Super Bowl, the only team to do it. So maybe you have a little bit different perspective on the Super Bowl that just happened. How do you feel about it?
Oh, dude, I was rooting for Tommy B, man. TB12, man. I was rooting for him all fucking day. I didn't like the Eagles beating Tom Brady because I wanted to be the only team that beat him, not just once, but twice.
Yeah.
Eli Manning, he just those two playoff runs were just phenomenal. I mean, especially in the Super Bowl 46 when we beat San Fran. Sorry about that, but I did my little research on you guys. So yeah, I mean, dude, that San Fran game, you guys had that defense that year was just phenomenal. And to beat these teams, to beat Tom Brady, it's just wild, man. You can't, he's the GOAT. I mean, there's no denying it. I don't know how people could say he's not. Sure, he had a loaded team in Tampa Bay. He went there for a reason, obviously, because they had the weapons. But what did he really have in New England all these years? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
exactly.
So
you're lying to yourself if you say he's not the GOAT. Come on.
He really is, man.
I'm a fan of Steve and Joe, but man, I mean, Tommy, I can't deny that. I mean, he has 7 Super Bowl rings, which is more than, most teams' franchises. So that's pretty awesome.
Listen, I didn't expect to win the first year, when Eli Manning's first year to beat the undefeated Patriots that year.
Oh, yeah.
It was just I can't believe we beat Green Bay to go to the place. It was a shock. I love when your team is not expected to win, and then you get in the playoffs and all of a sudden you win a game against Tampa Bay with Jeff Garcia, and then you're like, oh shit, maybe we could do something here. We beat Dallas with Romo, and then the Green Bay game, and then we're going to the Super Bowl. It's just, and then to beat Tom Brady, and I mean, it's just it was incredible, man. I had a keg. It was when I first started working for Budweiser that year, that November, right? Nice. I had a keg, brought it upstairs in my apartment, had a keg for the playoff run.
Beautiful.
Kept it on ice. Didn't even have a kegerator, man. Just kept that shit on ice for
in a bucket.
3-4 weeks. Even in the bye week, I was drinking before the week to the Super Bowl, man. And then it was just, man, what a ride, man. I love being a Giant fan, man.
Beautiful.
Lucky keg, man.
Ready to get this thing started?
I'm ready. Mike, you ready, man? We brought you on to ask you some questions about why you're fans. You got a little dog out there?
Yeah, my little puppy, man. He's like
nice.
getting restless right now.
I feel you.
See me get up, he's a little English bulldog. So if you see me get up, I named him Barkley. You know what I'm saying? So if you see me get up out of nowhere, man, he's probably like biting some shit.
It's all good, man.
It's all good, man. We're both dog owners ourselves. So yeah, let's get into it. We're gonna ask you some questions. We're not gonna grow you, so don't worry, man. Just chill back and relax.
It's all about you. So how did it all start? How'd the Giants get in your blood?
I was born this way, man. I think Lady Gaga said it. Born this way.
Yeah.
And like I came out the womb, like I was actually blue. Like they thought, like the baby, he's not breathing. But I was just like, I'm just a Giant fan, man. I woke up, I can't wait to win, man.
There you go.
I was real young. Like I remember, like my whole family's like Giant fan. My dad, my brothers, my brother-in-laws. And Phil Simms when we won the Super Bowl in '87. And, I was like a little kid. I remember just like, watching the game, Phil Simms, LT. And I remember begging for people that don't know, we had VHS tapes back then and recorded stuff in VCRs on television. Yeah. So I begged for one of those fucking tapes for that Super Bowl. And I just remember like rewatching them when I was a kid.
There you go.
And in New York, it's always like, you always get like, the Giant game or the Jet game. And then sometimes if it's a game of the week, the game of the week was usually Dallas. That's why a lot of New York fans are like, became Dallas fans because they were always on TV and they won a shit ton of games when I was growing up.
Yeah.
In the fucking 90s. They haven't won, a lot recently, but so we were all Giant fans, like, diehard. My family was just out of control with it, man. And just growing up and just seeing Phil Simms and LT, those are my guys. And, just like, for football fans that, this, like when you watch the game, man, you got to be a diehard fan. You're into it, man. I don't know how people cannot be, sports fans in general. It's like, what do you do with your life?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
What do you just like read books or something?
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on, man, but that's, that was me, like, growing up, like playing football in the street with my friends. And then as I got older, we started like gambling on the games. And
nice.
Then when DirecTV came out with the football package, that was that took it to a whole nother level, man. We had like, my dream was to have like all these TVs, watch all the games. I made that happen like very early on, like early 2000 when DirecTV came out. If you check my Twitter feed at Mike Trainor MFT, you could see like on my media section, I post pictures and I have a picture where it's like, 6, 7 TVs, all the games are on. I mean, that's the dream, fellas. That's the man cave. You know what I mean? So it's just like, fantasy, betting the games. And I mean, it was out of control, man. I don't know. I can't imagine football not being in my life.
Yeah. I totally agree. I often say it's the only reason I have cable. I don't watch regular TV shows. It's only for live sports, or else I would get rid of this shit and not pay the bill. But yeah. So growing up, did you get a chance to visit the old stadium? Have you seen the new stadium?
Yeah.
Both?
Yeah, I like the old stadium better. It's almost like, with Yankee Stadium. I loved old Yankee Stadium compared to the new stadium. The new stadium, like MetLife Stadium, they did a real shit job. You figure with 2 NFL teams being in that building, you think they would be like a lot more updated and nicer, especially when you go around the league and seeing like all these, NFL teams with their, facilities or whatever. But they didn't do such a good job with that. I'm waiting for them to, to redo it or, whatever they got to do.
I hate that stadium so much this year.
It's garbage.
I mean, so many injuries on that field, man. I mean,
that's what started.
Shit's city.
Definitely.
That dumb turf, yeah, man.
Yeah.
Don't like that at all.
I definitely like the how the Cardinals do it, man. They got that Bermuda grass, I think, and they just roll it outside, get some sun, bring it back in. That's so awesome. I think, honestly, grass fields are the best. I mean,
of course.
Yeah, you can't beat that, man. That's how football should be played.
Yeah. I say grass field and outdoor. Fuck the indoor stuff.
Yeah.
If you can do it.
That's why I like the Super Bowl when they played outside, even if it was at like, MetLife, but still, like, I prefer like a Super Bowl being outdoors and not being on this turf, man. It's like, there's no advantage for certain teams in that. Yeah, I just don't like it, man. I don't think of that.
Yeah. You get teams like the Greatest Show on turf, of course. I felt a lot of times like the Saints playing on their turf. It's like you get some of these guys out in a real stadium. You get them up in Green Bay. You get them somewhere like that. It might be a different story.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
So growing up in New York or in the New York area, did you know anyone that was a season ticket holder?
Yes. My aunt worked at a bartender, and she worked in Yonkers, New York. And they had the bus where they took all these season ticket holders to the games.
Okay.
Like it was fantastic. Every time, like, I would go there. This is like before DirecTV came out, and I would go to the bar, and I would ask like, hey, anybody got extra tickets or whatever? And sure enough, everybody always had tickets. You hop on the bus there. They take you down, drop you right in front of the stadium. You're drinking on the bus. They pick you up. They wait for you. if you're hammered and trying to search for the bus, figure out what lot that is. Yeah, they'll wait for you to get you on that bus to go home. It was fantastic. I never had season tickets. Like the waiting list was like 20 fucking years.
Yeah.
Or some shit like that. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, it was always fun, like hanging out with those guys. They sing on the bus. They all be drinking, everybody's like, big time Giant fans there, man. That's,
yeah.
You always
Talk about diehard fans, the season ticket holders. To me, that was the dream. That was when I knew anyone that was a season ticket holder to any stadium. I was like, man, they are living the life, especially the guys that would like pull up with the TV in the back and they had the satellite on the top.
Yeah.
So they would sit in the parking lot, tailgate, watch games. I mean, come on, does it get much better than that?
And not even go inside the stadium. A lot of it, they just fucking feel it out there, fucking in the van, man. They just want to feel part of it, man. Like, God bless them, man.
Yep.
Yeah. Just go out there, just drink beers outside, man. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, hell yeah. Did you ever get to go to any training camps or practices or anything like that?
Yeah, when I was little, when they were doing the training camp in Albany, I went there like like 2 or 3 times. I remember going up there, trying to get like, autographs, signed footballs. I got to look in my closet. I had a couple guys that signed them back in the day. Yeah, it was pretty cool to go up there and watch that. But it was nothing beats the games. You know what I mean? Like the training camp's one thing, but the games are just like, it was intense, man. I went to some good games. I went to the game with, Jason Sehorn was our stud corner. He made that pick. Oh, dude, he made that pick against Philly in the playoffs where he was on the ground. I was in the corner of the end zone up top. I'm like, did he really just catch that? And he started running back down the court, dude. I mean, it was electric. The game against Minnesota where Kerry Collins lit up the Vikings for like 41 points. I was there for that. I mean, just like, countless games back in the day.
Yeah.
Beautiful. That's awesome.
Do you know your first Giants jersey? Do you remember who that was? I mean, it had to have been when you were young.
Phil Simms.
Blue.
Phil Simms, huh?
Phil Simms.
And I still got it to this day.
I love that.
I think it's like it definitely doesn't fit. A lot of beers later after that jersey was bought.
Yep.
Yeah, but I think it was like a Reebok jersey. I don't know what year that was, but man, yeah, I still got it. Like it still has the numbers on. A lot of it's faded, but
yeah.
Right, I was trying to stretch that shit on like for special occasions. You know what I mean? To rub it into, some of the other teams fans that come over watch the games with me. Like I got friends that are Redskin fans, Bears fans.
Yeah.
So it's like you got to rub it into those guys sometimes.
Got it. Yeah, he came from a small school too, wasn't it? Wasn't it Morehead
State? Yep.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't even know if that football program is still around.
Yeah, I don't heard anyone there.
I have no idea where that place is. Like I just remember seeing it on CBS, like Phil Simms, Morehead State. I'm like that's why it's always in my brain.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can find it. Morehead State.
I want to say like Texas or some sure.
Oh, it's still around. It's in Morehead. Oh, I should have known. It's in Kentucky, Morehead, Kentucky.
Kentucky. Oh, that would make sense.
Yeah, I always think of players being drafted. I haven't heard of Morehead State. I don't think ever.
They're Division I FCS, so that's probably why we don't really know them.
That's
They're not
probably
even.
why.
They're probably on TV at 3 o'clock in the morning.
How do you find that guy, man? That's
I mean, that's what I think about Jerry Rice. I mean, it just happened by chance where Bill Walsh is
Mhm.
going to sleep. He turned on the TV. He sees Jerry Rice, playing at Mississippi Valley State. He's like, "Oh shit, let me check more in about this guy." So,
I mean,
went in,
back then, finding a player was tough.
yeah.
I mean, at least nowadays, I'm sure coaches can go on some type of, website or whatever and watch tons of film on players. But back then, you really had to search for guys.
yeah, scouts were just like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, scout life is still hard, but I mean, I can't imagine back then.
Yeah. You got anything else on how it started for him?
I don't. No, not really.
You got it. Well, let's move on. We want to guess your favorite player. I was looking through Giants guys all day today, pretty much watching highlights and stuff. I'm going to go with one of the guys that I hated playing against, and it just seemed like he demoralized my team, and that's Brandon Jacobs. You got a guess?
Yeah, I hated playing against Brandon Jacobs, and I hated when we picked him up. We didn't really utilize him with the Niners, but I mean, I guess it is what it is in the past. But I'm gonna go with either the De La Salle kid, Amari Toomer, or coming out of the U, which is my favorite Giant, is Jeremy Shockey.
Wow, shocking. I mean, I got Eli's jersey on, so
Yeah, I see.
mean, that's probably like the giveaway right there.
Yeah, he's
Okay.
the savior. I mean,
I mean,
16-year Giant, 2-time Super Bowl, 4-time Pro Bowler. I mean, you can't deny Eli. He pretty much he was the team for a long, long time until he got benched for one season.
Yeah, he was the team for the Chargers for all of 5 minutes as well.
Yeah. What? Yeah, he got traded.
Yeah, he got traded day, and then that's how they got Phillip Rivers.
Phillip Rivers. That's I was thinking Drew Brees.
There's always that debate.
That was the domino.
Yeah, there's always that debate on
Yeah,
whether
the
like
domino
if
effect.
Phil ended up playing for New York, would he have the career that Eli would have?
That's a big one, man.
Right?
Because Eli made some very, very clutch plays that I love Phillip Rivers. He's a great player. Have I seen him do that stuff? No, I haven't.
What's your take on that, Mike?
I tell you, man, that draft, like all three of them, like you couldn't have gone wrong. Big Ben was the last one. But if you look at all the career stats, like, Big Ben, he didn't have a losing season at all. Not one year.
Yeah.
Like he was just a winner. But if you look at the way Pittsburgh's, built their team all those years, it was always defense, running the ball, the lines, they drafted right. Giants with Jerry Reese, like he had his first year as GM, he had a good draft, but that was more to do with Ernie Accorsi. And then the years later, we kind of just neglected the offensive line, and we did Eli dirty pretty much after Super Bowl 46. So it's a little touch and go right there with them. And then Phillip, like I would have been happy with Phillip in that draft too, but Phillip had better numbers, and Eli was the last on the numbers. But when you say clutch, like you can't judge what's in a person. Some people just come up clutch in big games.
Yeah.
I mean, especially like against that San Fran, like I was saying before, your defense was it reminded me of the Ravens back in the day when the Ravens just annihilated the Giants in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That defense was ridiculous. I didn't expect Eli to just keep getting up. For him to keep getting up and throwing these clutch passes to Victor Cruz was just out of control. So it's like, how do you decide, like, oh, what would you want? Like better numbers if you had Phillip or Big Ben? It's just funny how these things kind of work out. Like, I don't know, maybe we don't have any Super Bowls if we get Big Ben or Phillip. We just don't know. And that's like kind of like the discussion or the argument that some people have, and you just don't know, man.
What numbers trump everything is Super Bowls.
2 rings, man.
So he's got 2. I mean, he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. Phillip Rivers, it's going to be a huge debate. I'm going to lean towards no. But even Eli Manning, he's number 1 in Giants history for passing yards and touchdowns. And passing yards, he's 24,000 yards ahead of the next person. And touchdowns, he's 167. I mean, it might not be the overall scheme, but he's a Giants legend, 2 Super Bowls. Hall of Famer. There you go. I don't care if you compare him
For
to those other guys. He's above and beyond those guys to me just because of that. 2 Super Bowls trumps everything.
Yeah, man, that year is Super Bowl 46 year. He could have been MVP of the league. He was on fire that league. And don't forget, after the Super Bowl 42nd, when we upset New England, like before Plaxico, like a jackass, shot himself in the leg.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, we were on fire back then. We were like 10-1 before that happened. And then all of a sudden, like Plaxico shoots himself, and I'm like, okay, it's just a graze wound. He's fine. He'll be back in a couple weeks.
Come on, Cheddar Bob.
And then Mike fucking Bloomberg, fuck Bloomberg, by the way, he had to make a little big stink about guns in New York City. I'm like, he didn't start shooting up the block, like D block or whatever.
Yeah.
He just shot himself in the leg going to the Ahmad Bradshaw's house because Ahmad Bradshaw lived in the hood. And he's like, yo, I don't want to get robbed. Let me carry this piece. He left a piece in his jogging pants when he was going into the club, man. Like, man. Yeah, we were on our way. That could have been 3 Super Bowls.
Yep. Yeah. New York gun laws are very strict. Don't fuck around there.
To go back,
the first round pick you guys had.
What's that?
The first round pick didn't he get caught in the airport with a gun? Oh, that was the Jets.
Yeah, that was Quinnen Williams.
Williams got caught with a gun, and he's a country boy. He has a gun. He's going places, and you pop up in New York, and it's a different story. That's for damn sure.
A lot of people don't know.
To go back to that Eli clutch gene, I would say, I mean, one play that I do remember for sure is the David Tyree pass. I mean, he escapes that and extends the play and makes that pass, comes in clutch, and then he, everyone's going wild, and he calmly just, corner route to Plexico. How awesome was that? That's so calm, so cool, collective. So, I mean, that clutch gene is definitely, you can't teach that. That's something you're born with.
Now, he had like an out pass to Steve Smith for a big third down, that drive. So, he was just like
Steve Smith.
Yeah. Before Steve Smith hurt his knee, like he was good for us too, man.
Yeah.
So, Eli's like goes down as one of the clutchest guys to ever play the Giant game, and he stayed healthy. That's the thing. Like we have Daniel Jones now, and my man, his first 2 years, he's been injured.
Oh, Danny Dimes.
Yeah, Danny Dimes. So it's like I don't know if I trust him yet. People like want to give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm not sold on him, yet. I'm rooting for him. Like I'm not one of those Giant fans. Like he sucks. Like he's done. I could never be that way, So I'm hoping he comes back next year, stays healthy, and we'll see what happens with him.
You guys drafted Ruben Randall too, didn't you guys?
Oh, yeah, Ruben Randall.
Ruben Randall. Yeah, I remember you guys drafted some receivers that I definitely did like. I mean, I wasn't the biggest Smith fan because I don't like USC, but but I love Ruben Randall, and I remember y'all drafted him for sure. And I thought it was
Steve Smith, Victor Cruz, Amani Toomer, Plexico Burris, Hakeem Nicks,
Mario Manningham.
There's some wide receivers in that group that are definitely, all those guys played important roles, especially going to those Super Bowls and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
But you mentioned it. One of my favorite Eli Manning stats, of course, is his should have been 14 consecutive years of not missing a start because he got benched once, but 13 straight years of starting every single game. That is more valuable than almost any stat. And showed up for his team every Sunday, and that's what counts.
That's McAdoo that bench him that one game.
Yeah, he was gone.
I give McAdoo one credit. He's the one guy, or one of the few guys in the Giant organization that wanted the Giants to trade up to draft Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, okay.
But
I didn't know that.
They didn't listen to him. You know what I mean? He wanted him. And I was looking at the kid, I was like, this kid's he could throw the ball. Like, you sit you sit behind Eli a year or two, and maybe he'll learn. I don't think anybody expected him to be what he is now.
Yeah.
But he had the talent, he had the arm, he had the escapability. And I was hoping they trade up for draft. I never expected Kansas City to trade up to get him, and they did, man. Give credit where credit is due. But McAdoo, man, benching Eli for I won't even say his name because it's just frustrating for one fucking game. Of course, the whole fan base is just gonna lose their minds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Bad
To
decision.
start him against the Raiders or to bench Eli. At least start Eli and then put the clown in. You know what I mean? Go back to the Jets.
Yeah. Especially with that record going, how many games he started in a row. It's like, come on.
Slap in the face, man.
Yeah.
It was definitely weird to see. I mean, I never was a big McAdoo fan. I mean, I remember the meme going around where he looked like the Mighty Ducks rival guy from Iceland. I thought that was hilarious. I'm like, dude, what are you doing out there,
that
bro?
Was pretty good.
Well, we're talking about coaches right now. Let's move on a little bit to your favorite Giants coach. Do you have one that comes to mind? I think there's.
Yeah, I tell you, it's a close one. I
Really?
never thought I would sway this. Listen, Tom Coughlin, great coach. He won us 2 Super Bowls. That's recent. You know what I mean?
Awful.
But I grew up with Bill Parcells.
Oh,
That's
okay.
my guy.
Okay.
I love Bill Parcells.
Yep.
I wanted him to stay the Giant coach for forever.
Mm-hmm.
The way he talked, the way he was with the media.
Yep.
He had a good presence, with the media, and that's huge, especially in New York, because these cats are they're out of their minds, man. And some of these media with their dumb questions.
Yeah.
If I was like a Giant coach and these media members asked me a dumb question, I probably would have got out of my chair and just started strangling these fucking guys. So like Bill Parcells, like he knew how to handle it, but then all of a sudden you see like guys come along like Pat Shermer and McAdoo that couldn't handle the media. It's like you wonder why they're not going to last like the full year. That's part of the job. You know what I mean? You got to handle this. You got to put these guys in their place. So I'm kind of happy like when Joe Judge really came out of nowhere. I didn't know anything about this fucking guy.
Neither.
He came in here and he had that press conference with the media and he laid down like the law. I was like, whoa, we have something here. Like this might be the guy for the next 10 years. So maybe he might become like a close second to Parcells. Like, but Parcells, like Parcells was the man, even though, he went to the Jets and went all that shit, Dallas, you know what I mean? Like, like I still love the guy, man.
Yeah, that was a little bit before my time. His last year was 90. I was born in 89. So to me, Coughlin was the answer, but Bill Parcells, of course, 2 Super Bowls as well. One thing that we might agree on, if it's the only thing that we agree on today, is that the Eagles' new coach, Sirianni, had one of the worst, press conference. He seemed so nervous and timid. And I like seeing it. I don't know about you.
I laughed so hard when they kept replaying. I was looking at the Twitter feed. I'm like, why are people making a big deal about this guy? And then the way he was just talking, I'm like, oh my God, man. I'm like, this is going to be fantastic because the Eagles are now going to suck for probably like the next, like at least 8 years. They're going to be, they're not even going to be like, they're going to be at the bottom of the barrel in our division for a long time now. I just worry about the Redskins in our division, to be honest with you.
Of course, yeah. Especially
if they get a quarterback. If they get a quarterback, it's going to be a problem.
Yep.
Bonus points if you know Parcells' nickname.
Parcells' nickname.
Yeah.
Oh man,
I know it because I'm an Office fan, so I knew it as soon as they call.
You gotta give me a hint.
Yeah, I don't know it.
Tuna.
The fish.
Oh, the tuna. Yeah, that's tuna. Yeah, that's why I said the whale. I knew it was something.
Big tuna.
Something to do with that. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, big tuna. I just needed to I need to get that in my head real quick. Yep.
Big tuna.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's my guy, man. Parcells.
Yeah, I want to see his coaching tree because that coaching tree's got to be spectacular.
Oh, Parcells. I'll name it off for you.
Yeah.
While I look that up, tell us your least favorite coach and why is it Ben McAdoo?
Wow. Least favorite coach besides Ben McAdoo?
No, I said why is it Ben McAdoo?
Oh, why is it? Just because he benched Eli.
Yeah.
I was furious about that, man.
Even the owner hated it.
It was just a dumb move. I don't know how they let that happen.
Mm-hmm.
to be honest with you. But yeah, he's the worst. Pat Shermer is a close second, just because he couldn't deal with the media, and he was like, he just didn't want to talk about injuries or anything else. It didn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought that it was funny when he always did that because it's like you're gonna have to report it, so
Right.
we'll just say it.
You're gonna
Yeah.
have to put it on eventually, like right before the game, or like an hour and a half, 90 minutes before the game starts. Like, just yeah, he was an asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah, dang, I didn't realize you guys had Jim Fossil for that long as a head coach.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jim
You guys had him for a
Fossil.
few years.
my man. Yeah, he put all the chips in, man. That's when we
Mhm.
had Kerry Collins like beating, Minnesota, and yeah.
Kerry Collins, Tiki Barber, Toomer.
Actually,
Look,
one question I actually
those
forgot
guys
to ask:
going.
was there a player on the Giants team like that you absolutely hated?
Wow.
Not right now, but like I mean, I know he's a fucking phenomenal player, but
I could think of one.
I always hated Michael Strahan.
Oh yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I
No.
didn't. I just like out the field. Like I just hated playing against him because he was always so fucking consistent. He did play. I mean, big congrats to him. He played out of his mind. He being a
Yeah.
second
Hall of
round
Famer.
Yeah.
Hall of Famer. Beat the record single
I-
season.
I got an answer for that. Eli Apple.
Ooh, yeah, Eli Apple. That's a good one.
Eli
about
Apple, man. Woo. You just hated Michael Strahan because of the gap in his tooth, man. He was. I tell you, the guy you get. This is gonna probably surprise you guys. The more I thought about it, the least favorite player. This is probably not during, but after the fact, is probably Odell Beckham Jr.
Okay.
Ooh,
And
okay.
I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
Like Odell, like listen, draft pick was, you figure like he came out of nowhere pretty much. LSU
Mhm.
phenomenal for us. Like he's catching all these balls, but the best judge of character on an NFL player is not when you're winning, it's when you're losing, turmoil, it's
Yep.
going rough. Like how's your that's when your character comes out. How do you respond to that? My man was fighting Josh Norman. My
Yeah.
man was like talking to the goalpost, proposing a goalpost. He was pretending like he was peeing on the field against Philly.
Boat
Like that
trips.
kind the boat trip, just like then you go to Green Bay, you're taking all your shirts off, and then
Mhm.
pregame, and
Didn't
then you're
lose.
going to the game and you're dropping every fucking ball. You
Mhm.
weren't prepared. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You weren't a professional player. You weren't mature.
Mhm.
And I know a lot of Giants fans loved him. Hey, he caught all those touchdown passes, but we had Eli, throwing the ball to him. You know
Mhm.
what I mean?
Mhm.
So he really like rubbed me the wrong way. Like I was like towards the end, like if his Giants, tenure, I was getting frustrated by the way he was acting. I mean, he's
Mhm.
probably the reason why Tom Coughlin was let go. If
Could
Tom
see it.
Coughlin couldn't like figure him out or control him in a way, and then they decided to move on from him and go into a new direction. So,
Mhm.
and then Odell, like with Eli, it didn't seem like he was like really like appreciated Eli. You know,
They did the Dirty Dancing together, man. I feel like they were,
Yeah, it was a great commercial,
he
but
got baby out of the corner.
That was
maybe
money grab.
maybe they see
There you go.
maybe maybe they CGI'd Eli in there. They put something else.
Yeah. They did it separate days.
It was actually Peyton, not Eli.
Yeah, it was paid. So like I don't know
Yeah.
that so like yeah, I mean besides like all the other bums, all the other draft picks that you would say you would
Yeah.
hate because they sucked like
Yep.
Eli Apple and shit, but
Yeah.
like, I gotta go with that route with Odell, man. It could have been he could have been like the next Jerry Rice.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? But he just like I think his head like got in the way, after that one, handed catch in the end zone,
Against
the
Dallas.
popularity. Yeah, against you boys,
You guys
And,
lost the game though.
I know we did. I know that Sunday night game. It
Yeah.
fucking drove me crazy.
Yep.
And so it's like, it is what it is, man. It's like
Yep.
Odell, like, I wish, I was hoping he'd do good. I drafted him in fantasy football when he went to Cleveland, but it's funny. All of a sudden, he's out for the year. You see how Cleveland responded, and they were just a better
Mhm.
overall team. Not
Yeah.
necessarily you would think they like, because a lot of people argue like, oh, they're not better, without Odell, but you kind of can make the case where it's like when you lose a good player like that, people step up, and the ball gets spread around more. So
Mhm.
it's like you kind of make the case like maybe they are kind of better off without him in a way.
the weird part, as I was thinking when that was all happening, is Odell's probably mad right now. It to me, I had that feeling where I was like, he doesn't want to see them succeed without him. And football's the ultimate team sport. And you can't have guys like that, that are kind of, he's a very, very good player, but you got to stay on the field. You got to have the right attitude, and you can't be a distraction.
Yeah, best ability is availability. And honestly, Mike, it doesn't sound like you hate the guy. It just sounded like you just sounded like a disappointed father. You know what I mean? That's what it sounds like.
Yeah. It's like I'm bitter. It's like when your ex-girlfriend
I'm just disappointed.
It's like when your ex-girlfriend, she breaks up with you, she moves on. You kind of don't want to really see her that happy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You want her to be okay.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So that's how it is with Odell.
I got a couple questions, fellas. One, Mike, I see you're drinking Stella out of a can. Do you like it better out of a can or in a bottle?
Oh, that's a good question.
Or a draft?
It is draft is pretty nice. I do have a kegerator where I put the little 1.6 barrels on there.
I enjoy a Stella, you know what I mean? So I'm just curious.
Yeah, they are delicious, but the cans, they have these 19.2 ounce cans. They're just they're perfect, man.
They're tall. This one's not quite as tall.
And the cans are all the rage right now, boys. So you know what I'm saying? The cans are really man, they just blew it up the past couple of years, especially 16-ounce cans, 20-ounce cans, bang.
Yeah.
Growlers. Remember growlers were a thing 4 or 5 years ago?
Yep.
Yeah.
What happened to that? Those are done now. It's all about the cans. So I bet you they'll go back to the bottles in a couple of years. We'll all be drinking bottles.
Yep.
I mean, the growlers are out here in the West Coast. It's still a thing out here. But yeah, I mean, the cans, especially with the can art that they're making out here. I know you don't like to hear, but it's craft beers. But I mean, it's awesome. But man, I'll still enjoy a Bud Light or a Stella. You know what I mean? When I just want to keep it low key or whatnot. I want to stay up for a whole game, man. I'll drink some lights. You know what I mean?
What about the seltzers? What about any seltzer? You guys drinking any of the hard seltzers?
No, I'm not really a seltzer guy. Not really a White Claw.
Wow, it hasn't gone to the West Coast yet, huh?
It is. It's here.
A lot of people drink White Claws, but that's just not.
I've had 6 of them in my fridge for about a year. Wow. Gee, I know you see them every time you come over.
Yeah.
We're more beer guys.
Yeah. I said the same thing too. I was like, I'm a beer guy. I'm not drinking any of these hard seltzers. Then I started drinking a couple of them. I'm like, damn, man, fucking not.
Do you enjoy IPAs?
Oh, dude, yeah, I do. Absolutely.
All right. Send me your address, man. I'll send you a 4-pack of different Sonoma County beers.
We'll get you a care package.
Yeah,
dude, absolutely, man.
Especially for Eli Manning being benched and you losing your boy Odell. Yeah. And my second question is, Duran, did you pull up that coaching tree?
I did.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. Bill Parcells' coaching tree. These are the guys that have just succeeded underneath him. Bill Belichick, come on now. Todd Bowles just won a Super Bowl.
Never heard of her.
Tom Coughlin, Romeo Cornell, Todd Haley, Freddie Kitchens, Anthony Lynn, Eric Mangini, Sean Payton, Tony Sperano, Mike Zimmer. I mean, there's a couple other guys on here that I don't really know, but those are the guys I highlighted, and those guys have been staples in the NFL since I was born, it seems like. So, I mean, that's got to be one of the best coaching trees around.
I know I sent Duran a picture of this, but was it his staff where he had Zimmer, Lynn, and all those guys on the Cowboy staff?
Yeah, that was yeah, he had Sean Payton.
Yeah,
Jesus,
Sean Payton. We let him walk. Imagine what the Cowboys would be today.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
All right, so let's get back on track here.
Yeah.
Mike, I want to know actually your first memory of the Giants, the New York Giants, I should say. We're out here in the West Coast. For those of you guys who watch it in California, no, we're not talking about the San Francisco Giants. Fuck them. We're talking about the New York Giants.
That's right. First memory, like I said before, was that 87-88 Super Bowl right there, the Rose Bowl. Yep. It was Phil Simms making the passes. I remember him at the end was saying, I'm going to go to Disneyland, right? And I remember being like a little kid, like, yo, I want to go to fucking Disneyland. Like, I love Phil Simms. Like, Phil Simms, my guy, man. That was my earliest memory. And just, man, it just grew like that. You know what I mean? I don't think like even when I was like born into like the Giant family that I grew up with my brother-in-laws, dad or whatever, I don't think I would even be allowed to be another kind of fan. You know what I mean? They would just probably beat the shit out of me. Also, like, no, you're a fucking Giant fan. That's it. Like this is how you're gonna be, So I'm glad I am. I can't imagine being, growing up being a Jet fan. I mean, God.
It's funny.
We're this close, same stadium.
Like, yeah, same stadium. Like, oh, it's disgusting.
We interviewed a 49ers fan who's from Jersey. He said, man, like I went to school with either people wearing green or people wearing blue. So, surprisingly, I just wore red, one day and, it stuck.
Yeah. He should have got beat up.
He said sometimes that he might have got bullied or something. But yeah, I remember watching that Super Bowl back because me and Duran are both Texas fans. And I remember when, Chris Sims, was quarterback, I went back and watched some of the, old tape. And I was like, damn, dude, like his dad was a fucking baller.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember seeing that like he slipped up because I think he was one of the first guys to sign a contract with Disney, saying, I'm going to go to Disney World. They're like, no, Disneyland. He goes, oh, I'm going to Disneyland. I'm going to Disneyland. Right. So, I remember that being like you have to say this or you're not going. Mm. And that was part of like the contract that they rewrote, I guess. But that was funny because I didn't know that. And I was like, oh man, I just happened to watch it. Like my future coach, Kyle Shanahan's on the team. I'm seeing Phil Sims' son do his best, I should say. He wasn't the best.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you know what I mean? Like going back and watching his dad, I was like, dude, like those are huge shoes to fill. You're never going to fill that, man.
Yep, that's tough. That's a tough one. But that's a great memory to choose. Yeah. The Denver Broncos got beat up by the Giants 20-39. I mean, Giants only had 2 losses that season. That's one to remember for sure. Do you have a favorite? I mean, you guys, it sounds like you remember all 4 Super Bowls. Do you have a favorite memory of all time? It could be a game you attended, meeting a player, anything like that.
The favorite memory, I tell you, is probably when we upset New England in that Super Bowl. When they were undefeated. No, when they were undefeated in New England.
Okay, yeah.
And when they were just going for everything. Don't forget, guys, they were blowing teams out. Like they were beating teams by double digits every week. Like I was betting on them. Like, I'm winning so much money on the Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you, like so I think I had like half that keg left that I was talking about before, and I brought it to a party, right?
Yeah.
So I took the keg in the back seat of the truck, brought it to my friend's house. They had a Super Bowl party there. We're cracking the keg. I'm like, all right, like I can't believe we're in the Super Bowl. It's New England, but like I'm like, man, it's gonna be a tough game to win. It's fucking New England, it's tough. And then things started happening, and I'm like, I'm getting more and more drunk. I'm like, then it's like the fourth quarter. I'm like, we're in the game. We're keeping New England to like, 10 points. I'm getting fucking shit faced, man.
Yeah.
Then like the Tyree catch, I'm like, did he fucking catch that?
Unbelievable.
And then the Plaxico catch, I'm like, Plaxico, I started hugging everybody. I'm like, I can't believe we're gonna do this. And then I'm like sweating that Tom Brady's just not gonna throw a deep ball to Randy Moss, and he did. Mm-hmm. And my man tipped it. I'm like, oh my God, thank you, Corey Webster, for fucking tipping that ball. And then the clock hit 0. I went absolutely insane, man. I ran out of that dude's house. I was running in the streets, yelling. I was trying to like bang on neighbors' doors to show like the Giants won the fucking Super Bowl. Like everybody's, it was one of the best like Super Bowls I could ever witness, man. It was so close. Mm-hmm. It was down the stretch. It was definitely the last drive. It was like definitely like Eli, like, because right before, like the couple years before that, everybody was dogging Eli, saying he's not the future Giant quarterback. Mm-hmm. He's not worth it. They should trade him. They should get rid of Tom Coughlin. So just all that to prove everybody wrong. And it was just like, it was a dream, man. It was really a dream.
Yeah.
I still can't get over it, man. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I believe it.
For sure.
Go ahead, G.
I remember that for sure, that Super Bowl, because I remember Randy, like you said, the last play, he runs and he sticks his hand up. I'm like, oh shit, he is open. And then
Yep.
Corey Webster, I think he was a
Eh,
third round draft pick at LSU.
Yep.
He just came in and tipped it. I was like, what?
Against Randy Moss.
Yeah, I was just like, what the hell? He has Randy on the squad. And like,
Yeah.
I remember he broke all these records for, Jerry Rice's record. And I'm like, okay, cool. But man, just to see that, I remember just like being in shock. I remember sitting down. People were like, oh my God, cheering. I'm like, what the hell? That is awesome. So,
Yeah, that was
The
the
whole
year Randy Moss and Tom Brady broke the touchdown record.
yeah,
They were unstoppable. But in that game, Plexico Burress caught the touchdown with 35 seconds left in the game. They ended up winning 17-14. I mean, defensive game for sure, but it was exciting as hell. But both of those Super Bowls, exciting as hell to watch. And that was a great game.
It was fantastic. A lot of people forget, like, we played New England that year. The last game, it was like a Saturday night game of the season.
Mhm.
And the whole big thing, like the Giants, New England was going for the undefeated season, so they were playing all their guys.
Mm-hmm.
Giants didn't have to play anybody.
Mm-hmm.
But Tom Coughlin was like, I'm playing my team until the end of the game.
Yeah.
And it was a big thing. They lost like 38-35 or whatever. It was a high scoring game. And like after that, like I think the day after, John Madden actually called Tom Coughlin and left him a voicemail saying, like, you did right by the NFL. Everybody should appreciate you.
Mm-hmm.
Like if people don't know about that, look it up, Google it, because it was a really good voicemail the GOAT, John Madden. I mean, to leave that and to support Tom Coughlin and because a lot of times, like in the NFL, man, you might not see that, like, recently the past couple of years, like teams are out of the playoffs or teams are not going for anything. You bench guys. Like, look at this year, the fucking dumb Eagles not letting the Giants go in. They decided to pull Jalen Hurts out of the game. So it's shit like that. You can't play the game that way, man. It's pathetic.
Yep.
So I'm glad, like, we had guys that did it right and did it the right way.
Yeah, that's why I kind of don't believe in tanking in the NFL, because all the guys on the field, they're trying their hardest, man.
Yeah.
And even, we've seen Miami Dolphins be the tank for Tua, tank for Lawrence. Those guys are out there trying and winning games, and you can't count them out. That's for sure.
I'm trying to think of that Giants linebacker that was like the key guy in that defense. It's like drawing a blank. I think he was 56.
Not sure.
Antonio Pierce, right?
Antonio's 58.
58. Yeah. I know he's a defensive coordinator at ASU. My brother goes to ASU, so that's why I thought of him. But man, like when you said, man, that defense was just on fire, I was like, damn, who was there? Like, who was their dude that wore like the green dot? You know what I mean? And I think it was Pierce.
Yeah, Pierce, especially like the game before in Green Bay, he stopped the screen pass by himself.
Right.
Like literally, it was just like, how did he make that play? When you see plays like that during a game, you kind of just feel like, oh wow, we're actually going to win this game. And I mean, to stop Green Bay, Green Bay was on fire that year too with Brett Favre. Like it was unbelievable, man. Man, I tell you, man, things just happen like that way. You appreciate those times, man. Not so much when you're watching it, you just expect it to just keep continuing every year. But man, the way the NFL is now, man, every year is just, I don't think you're going to see like a dynasty. You're just going to see different teams winning like almost every year now.
Yeah. Well, as we move on to the next topic, we know not every year is a Super Bowl year. Do you have a worst memory as a Giants fan? I mean, you saw the Eli benching. Yes. We just saw Saquon Barkley get injured. Can you think of anything like that as a loss in the playoffs?
Everybody has seen it. It's the Deshaun Jackson touchdown, punt return.
Yeah. Matt Dodge, what are you doing, buddy?
At Dodge, listen, Dallas don't really bother me. Redskins don't really bother me. Philly is my kryptonite. I hate that passion. When I go down to Atlantic City, because I'm from New York, and I go down there, I get a lot of Eagles fans down there. I always make sure I rep my Giants gear. So I always have Eagles fans coming up to me and talking a little bit of shit. So I could just talk a bunch of shit back to them. I love it. Not fighting or anything like that. It's all good nature. Yeah. You know what I mean?
It's banter back and forth.
Yeah, it's just banter. It's good stuff. And that run, especially with Deshaun like running it back, and then he just kind of ran to the side, like just kind of like rubbing it in.
Yeah.
That made me fucking furious,
Yeah.
man. I wanted to, I don't know, I just wanted to drive to Philly and just fucking fight everybody.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It just oh god, it just, and
Yeah.
plus they replay it all the time.
Of course.
Like, you know what I mean? It just like it gets me under the skin, man. That
Yeah,
was
he muffs it at first, and you think that it's going to be,
right.
a great play for the Giants, and then he ends up doing what he does. And shout out to Kelly from Eagles Brawl podcast. Unfortunately, that's one of her favorite plays of all time as an Eagles fan. So back-to-back episodes, we have that play come up, and yeah, that was one that she definitely remembered. We talked about it. Deshaun Jackson muffs it, of course, breaks ridiculous amount of tackles and like up the middle. It's not like a sideline type of thing, up the middle, and then does the kill the clock celebration type shit along the goal line. But yeah, I definitely remember that play. That would be a tough one.
I bet you were hoping that he would have dropped it before he scored like he did against the Cowboys.
Oh god.
Yeah.
That would have been fantastic.
Yeah. But Deshaun has killed us before too. He's gone over the top more than once against
quick,
the Cowboys.
Man. He's that speedy guy that just like,
Mhm.
oh man, he's such an asshole too, man.
Yep. Yeah,
Uh,
I get it. So let's move on a little bit to your future expectations for the Giants. I mean, they got the number 11 overall pick. They got 3 in the top 100, I believe 4 in the top 106. Is there a direction in the draft that you kind of want to go? I know maybe a little bit of edge rusher, maybe wide receiver, get some weapons for the QB.
yeah, everybody says edge rusher, but we had like Fackrell that played the edge. We had a couple guys that got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
The X-Men, that was doing well on the edge. So like I'm expecting those guys to come back and play the edge effectively like they were doing.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's such a priority as much as, you have to sign Leonard Williams. He was a beast. I argue with Giant fans for like, listen, we traded a 3rd and a 5th for him. You know what I mean?
Do it.
You have to, in order to get a guy that was drafted 6 overall, you have to use your draft capital to get guys to come here and be a difference maker. You have to make that move. And if they're good, you pay the guy. You're not like these fans like, oh, they're so worried about the cap. Don't worry about the cap. There's always room around the cap to, between signing bonuses and rework contracts. It's not that big of a deal. So you sign him. That's number one priority this offseason. But as far as like the draft goes, you have to go offensive because we've seen a big impact losing Barkley. That was our number one offensive player. Losing him, it set the team back a little bit. Not to mention that we had not 1, not 2, but at times 3 rookie offensive linemen trying to play this game. That's that's a lot to ask, especially like, this season with COVID, no training camp, no preseason games. That's asking a lot of these guys. And a lot of Giant fans are dogging Jason Garrett. Like, listen, let him work with some pieces. Let him get a full year behind his belt before you want him out the door. We want Daniel Jones to get consistency. You want him to be able to, like, even if Garrett moves on, like, say, next year or the year after, whatever, you get a guy in here, keep the same program going on, keep the same offense going on. So we have to draft, like, I would say with the 11th pick, either that guy Pitts from Florida, a tight end that could maybe go with like how the Patriots did with Aaron Hernandez, the killer, and Gronk as a 2 tight end set. So you could have that going on. Or you draft like if Devontae Smith kind of lasts at number 11, man, I tell you, I'd take him. I don't care if he's like 100 pounds soaking wet, but my man is just electric, man. You're talking about Odell Beckham kind of electric, but he needs weapons. Daniel Jones needs weapons. They need the offensive line to play better. I would draft another offensive lineman too. So I think our defense is going to be okay like they played. We got Patrick Graham back there, making these guys play well. So offensive side of the ball, this draft, and maybe even like getting a guy like Galladay signing a free agent as a wide receiver. So there's options open. I'm expecting to see like a lot more on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I was messing around with a little bit of mock drafts, and Devontae Smith. Actually, I had him go a little bit earlier, but I had you guys taking that other Alabama receiver with Jalen Waddle. I mean, you guys are committed to Danny Dimes. You guys seem like you guys want to, obviously give him weapons, right? Like you were just saying. So, I'm saying that as fans, you guys want to give him that. So I want to give you guys Jalen Waddle, who brings you natural speed, burst, route running ability. And I think Danny Dimes, if you can give him the ball, he can sling it, give him that extra, dynamic. And I think you guys were to cut Golden Tate and sign Galladay. Galladay is a bigger size Golden Tate, in my opinion. And that's better for you guys because you guys
I like that.
Yeah, you guys have, all these, athletes in your offense. So what, filled, and then Danny, he can run some yardage.
Yeah, he can.
He can't finish the job, but he can run for sure.
He falls down like after like 80 yards. You know what I mean?
I was like, oh my God, what? No, oh, sniper.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, he's faster than Lamar Jackson. That's what everybody's telling me.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw like the spread, and I was laughing. I was like, hey, I like to see them race. That'd be funny.
Yep, absolutely. You play Lamar Jackson in Madden, and he's fucking running all over the goddamn place. You can't even fucking touch him.
The new Vic. I do have a couple questions just about coaching. We know you guys have Joe Judge there now. I just want to know how you feel about moving on with him. Do you feel like, he's a good head coach? You want to stick with him? Is there someone else you got your eye on? What do you think?
No, Joe Judge, definitely, like hands down. Like I said before, like, for him to come to the press conference and just like really put these media members in place and get like, the support of like the players.
Yeah.
And if you notice, like, Patrick Graham, our defensive coordinator this year, he had teams that were looking to interview him, possibly even the Jets, like they wanted to interview him about becoming the head coach. He didn't want to leave.
Good.
So that's saying something. If you're a defensive coordinator or an offensive coordinator and you don't want to leave the head coach or leave that organization, there must be something good going on in that organization.
Yep.
And then the team, like if you hear like there's no leaks coming out of New York anymore, you don't hear any garbage. So like it's important, man, to get that from the top. And it looks like, he's got good coaches around him that are coaching these guys. I mean, so sky's the limit for him, man. Maybe he's the next coach in line to be here consistently, maybe for, 10 plus years. That would be fantastic to have that, consistency in an organization. It's important. You can't just keep going through like different head coaches like every couple of years and expect to all of a sudden 1 year be great. It just doesn't work that way,
Yeah, Joe Judge really took control of that. He's the captain now. He's doing his thing. One guy that I know he gets a lot of heat, so I got to get your opinion on him, is Dave Gettleman, the GM. I mean, he's been around for a while. What are you thinking about that? Same question.
Yeah, I'm a big Dave Gettleman fan.
Okay.
Let me say that. Like, I've been on Giants Brawl, like, debating this with people, with people on Twitter that just hate Dave Gettleman. Listen, this guy, he was in our organization as a player development guy for years during our Super Bowl runs. And then he left, he went to Carolina. He built that team to go to the Super Bowl. This guy knows what he's doing. When he came here as our GM, 3 years ago, like I was happy about it. But his first year, like, I don't count that really as his best year because I think he was trying to appease like the Maras of the world, giving Eli Manning one last shot. That's why he was signing these like free agents 1 or 2 year deals to try to like get Eli Manning's one last shot as at least a playoff run before he goes out on top. So, I mean, his draft resume speaks for himself. He's a great drafter. You look at his past few drafts, I mean, he got guys like, Lorenzo Carter that got hurt. He was our edge rusher. He was having a phenomenal year this year before he got hurt. And it takes like a few years. It usually takes like 3 years before your draft guys do pretty well. So, but this past draft, like he hit on everything. So you can't knock that because that's how you build a team. You build through the draft.
Mm-hmm.
And, he has that resume in him. I mean, sure, maybe a couple of his free agent signings wasn't that great, but you take the chances at free agents. It's a reason why these guys are free agents in the first place. If their teams don't want them that much, it's a reason why they're on the market. But you got to find guys free agent wise that kind of fit your system, or maybe guys that you expect to take the next leap. That's what I'm hoping that he gets a couple guys like this year. But look at the free agents draft. Last year Bradbury like stepped up, number one cornerback in
Blake
the league.
Martinez.
Blake Martinez, one of the best
tackling
linebackers, had
machine.
all these tackles. Like, so it's like give him time. You can't just expect a quick turnaround for an NFL team. It's not basketball. You just can't sign LeBron James and expect to go win a title year one or year two. It just doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
And people don't understand that. So people that knock Edelman, they just don't know football.
They want it now. They want, they
Right.
want to take and eat it too. I mean, one thing that I saw, which is the growth from Gettleman, that he, in his drafts, even as GM, wherever he went, he never drafted a lineman first round.
Right.
And he drafted Andrew Thomas, which is a surprise to me because he wasn't my number one tackle. But the kid played consistent at times. He just needs a little bit more work for sure. I had Mekhi Beckham ahead of him. He went to the other New York team, but definitely, Andrew Thomas, he was a stout, specimen. And then you guys took my favorite safety in Xavier McKinney. That was a good pickup right there.
Both those guys were hurt. Like McKinney was hurt, pretty much all year. He came back. He started playing well, especially the last 2 games.
Exactly.
And Andrew Thomas had an ankle injury which he never said anything about. He went out and played all 16 games. He had surgery that like a few days after the last game of the season. So it's all of a sudden you're like, whoa, like maybe this guy was hurt and he didn't say it. But for him to play all those games with an ankle that needed surgery, that dude's tough, man. I think we're gonna have our left tackle for the next 10 years.
Speaking of tough guys, last year's Senior Bowl, I remember watching, and I thought Darnay Holmes was actually a tough, feisty nickel guy. And I was like, man, wherever this guy goes, he's gonna make a difference. And sure enough, he did. He went to UCLA, and he was drafted by you guys in like the 4th or 5th round. Maybe 5th round was LeMahieu. Or Shane Lemieux from Oregon. I'm not sure. I'm sorry. I forget what round they were drafted in. But
5th round, Shane LeMahieu.
5th round was Shane LeMahieu.
Out of Oregon.
What? Darnay Holmes was 4th round then?
Darnay Holmes
right?
was 4th, yeah.
4th.
Yep.
Yeah. And I just remember being like, damn, this guy's going to be a beast. And I'm pretty sure that I saw you guys he was in your nickel package right to start.
He was a lot. Yeah, he played a lot. And then he got hurt too for like a few games. And he kind of noticed like a lot of guys like over the middle all of a sudden started getting open a lot more. So like he definitely made a big impact. I mean, like I said before, like this draft class with the rookie class that they played a lot, Pair like the third round draft pick, the offensive tackle, like he came in and played, UConn kid. And he came in and started a lot of games over Fleming or substituted. So
yeah, he was a tackle in college too. That was a depth piece that I actually wanted for the 49ers, and you guys drafted him, and I was like, that's actually a smart move. Okay, Gettleman, like you changed your ways, and it was definitely a surprise. I definitely liked it.
See what I mean? Like he's making moves. He's drafting the right guys. So it's like I don't know how these dumb fans like could like knock him. I just don't get it.
I like you talking some sense into him.
Yeah.
I like you because usually I hear the bad end of it. Of course, the loudest mouths are the ones complaining. Yeah. So yeah, that was definitely a different take than I expected. And yeah, G, I got one more question. You got anything else?
No, have at it, man.
All right.
If I had anything, I'll think of it.
It's my NFC East question, and you know that we haven't had a repeat winner in 17 years. Who do you think's going to win it this year?
Honestly, it's probably going to come down between the Giants and the Redskins. If the Redskins get the quarterback, which I'm expecting them to go get Sam Darnold, but I mean, we'll see if that happens.
Okay.
Yeah, I said the
Wow. Okay,
Giants.
that's the first I've ever heard of that. I like that.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that
Be a
might
good
be
one.
that might be a smart move for them.
Yeah,
Um,
for
you know,
sure.
I like the Matt Stafford going to the Rams. I thought like the Rams, that's the team and the NFC, conference that we got to worry about. Everybody got to worry about them because now that they got a quarterback with that defense and they got a lot of weapons, man, you got to watch out for the Rams. With McVay, he's a great coach. They
Great.
worry me. They definitely
Mhm.
worry me because Stafford, like he was suffering in Detroit for so many years, man. That dude could ball, like, and he plays the
Mhm.
game the right way.
It's
But I
so
tell you,
funny because listening to Motor City Dan's, press conference and like him describing the players he wants, I'm like, you want Stafford. That's the guy you want.
Yeah.
right,
Motor
And
City Dan's Dan Campbell.
yeah,
Inside joke from the Pat McAfee show.
yeah, Motor City.
yeah,
Like
that's
if
the
you want a
guy.
guy that'll
Let him
chew
go.
Patelis,
Yeah.
that's the dude. Like it's not Jared
That-
Goff.
Yeah.
Right, right. So Detroit's going to go downhill quick. But I think the Giants, like in all honesty, like I'm expecting them to go 10-6 next year, even with a look a little bit of a hard schedule because we got to play Tampa Bay on the road, Kansas City on the road. But it is what it is. We
Yep.
lost to Tampa Bay by a 2-point conversion, and the referee's blowing it this year. So who the hell knows, man? Maybe if we snuck in to play Tampa Bay instead of the Redskins in the playoff this year, maybe we upset them. And Tampa
Yeah.
Bay ain't no Super Bowl champions. But what do I know, man? What do
Yeah.
you think? You think that Dallas is going to do anything next year? I mean, you got
Dallas is if we learned anything, it's defense is winning these Super Bowls, and Dallas's defense is probably at the bottom of the division right now. So I have no faith in. They literally need 5-6 starters to come in to.
All
do
I heard is they're
anything.
not going to sign Dak. So
Dak's there no matter what. He's got another franchise
you
tag.
got another franchise tag. I know you said that the Washington's probably going to end up with Darnold. What are you what are you comfortable giving up for Darnold? If like you were in that position, you needed a quarterback.
Wow, I tell you, desperate teams give up the most.
They do.
And Washington, to me, they're desperate for a quarterback. They were in the Matt Stafford, sweepstakes to try to get him.
were.
So I'm expecting like a first rounder to the Jets.
Do you think Darnold's worth that first round though?
Do I think? No, I don't think he's worth it.
I
But
mean, you're in the New York area, so I'd figure you saw him. I mean, kids seeing ghosts. I know that's a code
yeah,
for
like
something, but
A
weird.
later one. Why not?
I didn't like him coming out the draft to begin with. I mean,
Yeah.
some Giant fans wanted us to get him instead of drafted like Barkley. Like the
Ooh,
only
I
guys I really liked was like
Yeah.
I didn't even like Josh Allen. I didn't think he was that good. I didn't expect him. I mean, remember
Me
it took
neither.
Josh Allen to year 3 to really like blow up. He kind of like he was throwing like a 54% completion for his first 2 years. So
Yep.
like you got to give these quarterbacks like a little bit of time. Sam Darnold, like he played for a fucking shitty team, so maybe you give him, another year with a better offensive line and some weapons. Because Washington, man, they got a running game with Gibson. They got McLaughlin. They got some wide receivers, man, that can straight out ball. That's why they terrify me, and I hate to say that because I obviously I hate every other team in our division. So it's gonna be tough, like with them. But yeah, I mean, maybe like I could see Washington giving up a first rounder for him for sure, man.
yeah,
Hey,
me
that
personally, I'd be
might be the
comfortable
piece
giving
they
up
need.
maybe a third because I know the 49ers are they're in that running. I mean, looking at Dane Brugler's shout out my boy Dane. He had him trading, but they gave up a lot for him. I'd be comfortable giving up a future third for him
no,
and a
that ain't gonna
player.
happen.
But like,
They
I
want
just
more.
don't. Maybe I give him a third this year that we get for Robert Salah. You know what I mean? I just like I don't know,
That's not
man.
gonna
He
happen.
just needs to prove it. He's like a first round. I wouldn't call him a bust, but at the same time, like I'm not going to give you a first.
Yeah, they're gonna want a first.
Miami didn't give a first for Rosen.
Rosen, really? Come on.
What has
He's on a
Darnold-
practice squad right now. Sam Darnold is starting on an NFL football team.
No, Rosen was on the active roster for the 49ers for a bit. So
Yeah, no, fuck Rosen. Well, that's it for me, man. Anything else, G? Want to wrap it up?
No, that's it. You know what, Mike? Why don't you let our fans know where they can find you for sure? Wherever, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, like listen, you can find me like personally, Mike Trainor MFT on Twitter. You can follow us at Giants Brawl. Wherever you listen to your podcasts, I put them on the Twitter feed all the time. On Instagram, we got Instagram right now, Giants Brawl NYC. So you can look at like some like videos and some pictures of my dog Barkley. I put him on there a lot. So yeah, like come find us, come listen to the podcast. Like the
Shout out to
like
Barkley, dude.
So yeah, I had to do it, man. Like
Hell
actually,
yeah.
my boy, like when he's like 4 months old, he hurt his leg. I had to bring him to the vet. I'm like, dude, you really are fucking Barkley, man. Like
Yeah,
it's unbelievable. So yeah, come find us, man. Come
Yeah.
listen to the pod, man. We like to entertain the people, the fans, or any just NFL fans. We'd like to have a good time, man.
Yep.
And guys, like, please, come on our podcast, man. One time, man. You let me know when you ever want to come on, man.
And we play each other 2 times a year. When you're ready to talk some Cowboys versus Giants, let me know.
Yeah,
No
whenever,
doubt.
man. Let us know. You send us an invite, and we're there, man. You do us a favor, we'll do you a favor, man.
Yep,
absolutely,
for sure. We'll put all this information below for sure. If you have any questions for Mike that you want to relay, hit it in the comments. We'll definitely send it to him, and we'll answer it or whatnot. We're ready. Yep. So, Duran, anything else?
That's it, man. Thanks, Mike.
You got it, fellas. Thanks for having me on, man. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, no problem, man. Just stay out there just for a bit if you can. That'd be great. But look at Duran's background for sure. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at WhyWe'reFans. Again, thanks again. Cheers. Heading out.
Cheers. Thank you.